Well, Unity developers and game makers, indie game makers, everyone is in revolt over the Unity fee process that they're going to add to the real-time Unity in every game that we pretty much play off Steam. These games have been the backbone of the games industry for years. Indie developers are the ones that are making them, and they're being supported like mad. And now with Unity's new fee-based system, it seems the employees at Unity are now even walking out the door and giving it all up. Sharia Sharabi, he is the maker of Superflight. I actually own this game in my Steam account. It was something that was given to me a long time ago. It's a fun little neat game. You go up and down, up and down. But whether Unity backtracks or not, the fact that these decisions made it through leadership, legal, marketing, and employees says a lot about the organizational health of the company. As a partner, Unity is a source of unknown amount of risk. Making new games on it would be unwise. And this is 100% what it is now. Them adding this 20-cent per install fee. Yes, I know in the enterprise and the higher grade versions where you go from paying $2,000 to paying $5,000 for the game, or not for the game, for the engine to make the game, yes, your value on that is no longer 20 cents, it's like 1 or 2 cents. But that doesn't matter, because in a lot of cases, this will add up and eat away at the airtight revenue that a lot of indie developers are doing, especially if they make a game for free and just put it out there. And then Unity's like, 20 cents, thank you, per install. No, the game's free. They make it free for a reason. Well, Jono Forbes, now an ex-Unity employee, they've turned around and announced it that they are no longer working for Unity. And a quick look at their work history, they've been working for them for 7 years and have been in the indie game system for a long time. They actually started in Boston and moved on into the Unity main stage for them. So, as a Unity employee until this morning, I assure you we fought like hell against this. Brought up all the points everyone has, were told answers were coming, and then the announcement went out without warning. Those of us who care are out. More resignations coming end of week. This is a great sign to hear that Unity employees are not tolerating this. Indie developers are not tolerating this. Now we need the AAA companies to come out and actually start to give two craps about the rest of the consumer base. We have Nintendo, we have Sony, we have Microsoft. All three of them should be stepping up here and go, no, Unity, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it wrong. These games get released on our platform. Phasmophobia actually just came out with a statement here as well. And that Phasmophobia is supposed to come out on PlayStation come October, or Microsoft. I think it's both. It's coming to consoles in October. Recently they had a fire, so that delayed. It was supposed to come out in August. But this is big news. Phasmophobia is a huge thing on this channel. We do lots of games with them. I played with Fragapalooza and all these things, live streams. Phasmophobia is one of the greater games that have come out of the indie development scene in a long time. Among Us is another one that's being hit by Unity. It's endless how many games are being hit by this. And, you know, I've spoken to a few people and they're like, well, it's because of the amount of gacha games that are out there, like Genshin Impact or Magic the Gathering Arena, with their loot boxes and the amount that they're digging in with these microtransactions in these games where you pay a lot of money and the loot boxes. Here's the thing, loot boxes are on the way out. They're about to be regulated to the ground. So why in the world is Unity worried about this? It's absolutely asinine for them to turn around and start charging these fees, especially when an indie developer, if they have a game that goes big, a game that sells 200,000 copies of it, they can lose their house, they can lose their livelihood, all because of these stupid fees Unity wants to put in there, and an indie developer that wants to put something out there for free to begin with, and then their next game. It's absolutely insanity to hear about all of these things. Now, on top of all of this, Unity is closing down 2 offices temporarily because of credible threats on people's lives at these places. Unity Technologies canceled a planned town hall and closed 2 offices Thursday after receiving what it said was credible threats in the wake of a controversial pricing decision earlier this week, according to people familiar with the matter. And this also is corroborated by Jonah Forbes. I wish we didn't have to say this, but wow, these threats are never okay. I've spent most of today on video and text, now immediately former friends at Unity, about the threats and the fee and the blowback, and I just can't imagine a way this whole thing couldn't have been more effed up. Editor, former co-workers, forever friends, my brain is soup after all of this, and I'm not paying for Twitter. Yeah, that's exactly it. Unless you pay for Twitter, you can't edit a tweet. But it's absolutely ridiculous to hear that these threats went through. Threats are never okay. This is the type of thing that's not okay. They were credible, meaning there's a lot of people out there saying that we're going to come after you. And you know what? I don't doubt it. People's livelihoods are on the line over this situation. Now, Unity's come out and said 90% of developers won't be affected by this. 10% will. That 10% is huge. That's a huge amount of games. 10% of games? How many games are played with Unity? How many people make games with Unity? It's in the thousands right now. Unity is a game engine that has been out there for years now, and none of, like, on top of all of this engine's been out for so long. Games of the past, within the last 10 years, have been put on this engine, like Cult of the Lamb, like Hollow Knight. They're games that have been out there for so long. Phasmophobia came out in 2020, and they make these games and put it out there, and they went, okay, we're done with this game, or we can upgrade to it, we can make DLCs, let the game continue and rake in some cash so we can continue the development of our game. But now that's all coming to a screeching halt with these stupid user fees that Unity wants to put on these games, on these devs' games. In some cases, 20 cents is what the dev is making. That's insane to think about. Especially after you get through all the fees of putting a game on Steam, their cut. Google Play takes like a 30% cut out of these games to begin with. If there's not microtransactions, or if you're not running ads in your games, even though you're paying for the game now, it's going to come to a halt. Unity needs to reverse this immediately. Especially, they had a town hall that was going to try and rub things over. This is what they do. Wizards of the Coast did a fireside chat. Did that rub things over? No, that rubbed people the wrong way, and people are still pissed. And now you have the indie game development in revolt over Unity. People are choosing to leave Unity, say I quit the entire thing completely, walk away from Unity, and move over to Unreal. A lot of these big gotcha games, or the big developers, they can easily switch over and say, okay, our game is now on Unreal instead of Unity. It's not that hard for them to take that chance. And now, games going forward, anyone that uses Unity going forward now will risk this install. The biggest thing out of all of this is that they're going after games that have already been created. There are already games that are already out there on the market, have a name for themselves. And Unity's like, I want a piece of your IP. Your IP, I now own part of this. You guys need to pay us because you built it with our engine. It doesn't matter that we sold you the licensing for our game in the first place. It's like Microsoft coming out and saying, you're running... I'm filming this video using a Microsoft OS. It's Microsoft coming out and saying, for every person that views this video, we now get a 20-cent cut. Every view I get on this video is literally a very small, minute amount. I maybe make 10 cents on 1,000 views on this channel. And part of that is because we're so small. And because of that, I need you to subscribe. If you don't subscribe to the channel, we don't grow, right? And that is the whole deal here, right? It's absolutely asinine for Unity to come out and say, you guys owe us this money because you made it with our engine and you guys have found success with something that you created. Unity, it's like an operating system at this point, right? If I don't use Windows or I don't use Linux, if I don't use an operating system, I don't get onto the internet. I don't get out there and about. This is the same thing with the indie developers. They have a couple choices. They chose Unity because of the friendliness with the indie development scene, and now Unity is saying you owe us everything because we provided you the operating system in order to make these games. I don't blame you. Honestly, I do not blame anybody that's willing to walk away from this company because all hell has to pay right now, and Unity is on the bottom end of the ladder. They do not deserve anyone's business anymore. Thanks for watching. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix in a Shadow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you again very soon.